Now that I've listed all those documents to be filled out, what is the cost? Of course, is not free. So the total cost for this application is $1,760. You can see that with this timeline I'm mentioning here, there is no request for evidence anywhere in between because we submitted all the applications at the same time, including the medical form. So you have to make sure that you do all that just to avoid any delay in your case. Hi guys, welcome to the Cruise with Esther. My name is Esther Eguavoen. Are you looking to file for a family green card application concurrently? Then this video is actually for you, because filing for a green card concurrently means that you file the form I-130 and I-485 at the same time, accompanied by, of course, other forms and the required documents plus the filing fees. I know you might be saying, what is I-130 and I-485? Those are the names of the forms that you'll be filling when you want to adjust your status. So if you're in the United States, maybe for instance on a visit visa, and you want to adjust your status, either maybe through marriage or through family base, maybe you have your parents that are citizens and wants to file for you, then you have to adjust your status. Let me just go straight to the documents. The documents actually to be filled out to adjust your status in the United States of America is the I-130, that's the petition for alien relatives. So if it's your husband that is filing to adjust your status, or your parent that is filing to adjust your status, or your child, filing to adjust your status, then they need to fill the form I-130. And then the I-485 is the application for adjustment of status. So this is the applicant that will be filling out this form. What do I mean by the applicant? The person that you are filing the petition for is the one that is going to fill the I-485. And then we have the I-765, that is the application for employment authorization. So you can also fill this form in addition to the I-130 and I-485. So that will give you the opportunity to be able to work in the United States if approved. And then we have the I-864, that's the Affidavit of Support. Of course, you are filing to adjust your relative status. So how are they going to fend for themselves in the United States of America? So you that is filing the petition is going to fill that Affidavit of Support to show that you can be able to take care of this family member that you are filing for until they are able to get their employment authorization or the green card eventually. So that's why you need to file the Affidavit of Support. And then another form that you need to file is the I-693. That is the Report of Immigration, Medical Examination, and Vaccination Record. So this form, you can actually file this all together. So that's why they say concurrently. You have to file all these documents or all these forms at the same time. So for the I-693, some people might not file it at the same time you're applying for the green card, but I would really, really advise that if you can, make sure you add that to the application form once, and then that's it. And then another form again that will be filled out is the G1450. So if, of course, there are fees that are attached to these forms. If you want to pay for them through your credit card, then you need the GI450. That's the authorization for credit card transactions. So that's used for the payment of the application fee. And then lastly, you have the G1145. So that form is actually the e-notification of applications through petition acceptance. So that means if you fill this form, they are going to receive messages when USCIS accepts your form. So that will just give you all the notification on your case once you start this application, or once they accept your application, then you will receive these notifications whenever they take an action on your case. Now that I've listed all those documents to be filled out, what is the cost? Of course, is not free. So the total cost for this application is $1,760. So to break it down for you, the I-485 costs $1,140. In fact, when you want to apply, make sure you check the website. But as of today, this is the current fees. The I-130, it's $535 to file this application. And then you are also going to pay for the biometrics fee, which is $85. But if you are an applicant that is under 14 or you are above 79, then you don't need to pay the biometric fee. But the biometric fee for those between 15 and 78 would be paying the fee of $85. So in total, it will cost you $1,760 to adjust your status. These fees can actually be paid by money order, check, either a personal or cashier's check, and credit card. So like I mentioned in one of the forms, you can pay this application fees with a credit card. So you make sure that if you are sending in a check, make sure that it's made payable to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. And make sure that you don't miss $1 because, you know, of course, right now the total is $1,760. If you send $1,759, all your application, all the forms, everything that you have submitted would be sent back to you when they receive it. So make sure you check the current fees at that time and make sure that you submit the total fees so you avoid your forms being sent back to you. So of course, you will also need to check this USCIS to know the address where you'll be sending these forms to, because on the website they have like dedicated USCIS logbox where you can send your application to based on where you live. So like in California, the USCIS logbox is in Chicago. So they have a Chicago address. And also, if you want to use USPS, the address is different. If you want to use UPS, DHL, or FedEx, the address is also different. Please make sure you check the website to get the correct address that you will be sending your application packet to. So here are some tips that I'll just give you to make sure that you don't get the RFE, which is request for evidence. Like I mentioned earlier, to avoid a request for evidence, to not have a break in transmission in your application review, you have to submit the I-693, as I said, and then again, you have to submit all the required supporting documents with all the forms that I mentioned earlier. So for I-130, in as much as you are submitting all those forms together, each of these forms have their different requirements or different supporting documents. So for I-130, you have the copy of your green card, because the I-130 is the petitioner that is filing for this form. So for instance, like let me use myself as an example. I'm filing for my brother or my sister. I will be the one to file the I-130. So I'll be the one to fill that I-130 form. So to attach the supporting documents that are needed for the I-130, we have a copy. I'm going to put a copy of my green card, or if I have a passport, I'll attach a copy of my passport or your certificate of naturalization. So depending on what you have to attach a copy of that. And then a copy of your birth certificate. Of course, that will be used to prove that, okay, you are related to this person. That's if it's your mom or your sister or, you know, your relative. But if it's a spouse, you can still add your birth certificate. I mean, it's one of the documents that will be requested. And then evidence of family relationship. So if it's a spouse, of course, you have to add your marriage certificate. If your spouse was divorced before, you also have to add the divorce certificate of the previous marriages that you or your spouse have had. Make sure that you add that. And then if you are a parent filing for your child, you make sure you add your birth certificate and the child's birth certificate. If it's your sibling, you know, whatever case it is, make sure that you have to show proof of evidence of that relationship, either through birth certificate, marriage certificate, or whatever certificate you think will prove that you are related to that person you are filing for. And then if you did a change of name, like for instance, you're married, you change your last name, or you know something else, you decided to change your first name, because people do that, you make sure that you submit a proof of legal change. So all these are copies if you have that available. And then you have to submit 2 passport photographs. So these are the documents that you need to support the I-130 form. And then if you have kids together, if you are filing for your spouse and both of you have kids, you make sure that you add the birth certificates of all your kids together. Make sure you don't forget that. And then for spouses, this is kind of required. It helps a whole lot. If you have a joint property, make sure that you put that. But just have something, a document to show that both of you are named on that document. If it's a car note, a car loan, credit card, health insurance, whatever it is, make sure that you also provide documents that have you and your spouse's name on it together. So that shows that, it's a bona fide marriage, because that will also help you a whole lot. And if you want to add pictures, because you don't know these things, I know they say don't add too much, but of course add something that is sufficient enough for them not to request further evidence, for you to prove to them that this is actually a very that this is a bona fide marriage. So those are things that you have to look out for. And then for I-485, you have to add 2 passport photographs. So now, since you are actually filing I-130, I-485, you're submitting all those at the same time, you don't have to put 4 passport photographs. You only have to use 2. So whichever form have like similar documents that you'll be submitting, you just only put 1 copy, because all of these are going to be sent in 1 envelope. So for the I-185, of course, you have to put in a copy of your government issued ID. So it can be your passport biodata page, or your green card, or your certificate of naturalization. So these are similar to what I just mentioned in the I-130. So you have to add that. Of course, copy of your birth certificate, and then you also have to have proof that you have maintained. Okay, this is actually for the applicant now on I-485. Of course, it came in with a visit visa. I'm just using that as an example. Or if it's a work visa, of course, you have to show proof that you have maintained lawful status in the United States. So how do you get that proof? You have to go to the I-94 website to get the declaration form, because there you have they will have the proof of all your legal visitor status in the US. So that way you can get this from the US Customs and Border Protection website. Is i94.cbp.dhs.gov. I'm going to put the link in the description box below, so you get the exact link. So you have to go to this website and get this form. It will have a list of your exit and entry, or your arrival and departure in the United States of America. So that's kind of the valid and the legal form that you can add to prove that you have maintained lawful status in the US. Of course, you've not overstayed or, messed up your stay. So that's where you will get that proof of your lawful status in the United States. So that's it for the I-485. So for the I-864, there are some required documents too that is needed, which is a copy of the sponsor's federal income tax return for the past 3 years. So the sponsor is going to add this form, and the sponsor is actually the petitioner that is, petitioning this application for you, that is filing this application for you. So you have to have a 3 years W2, or your federal income tax return, wherever you are, whatever is being called. You make sure that you add that, and then you also have the birth certificate. Add your birth certificates, and if you are filing for your parents or children, you make sure that you add that too. And then, of course, a copy of your green card, passport, or certificate of naturalization. So you can see that for all these forms, there are some of these supporting documents that are very, very similar, like the same. So instead of having 3 different copies, make sure that you put 1 copy. And you can add a letter, just sometimes to avoid all those requests for evidence or doubts in your application. For instance, if maybe you have a family member here that came for visiting, because this thing is kind of tricky. If you have someone, maybe like for spouses now, or maybe somebody that just came in with a visit visa and they found someone here who wants to adjust their status, of course you're going to get married. You have to make sure that you want to prove to these people that you are not just doing that because you want to get the green card, No, you are doing that because you really want to get married to this person. So of course you have to show enough proof. You have to show enough proof. Write a letter. You can attach a letter to show why you want to adjust the status of the applicant. That is very, very important. Or if you have a sick parent that came to visit you and maybe your parent gets sick and you can adjust their status, of course you include a letter from the doctor to show that, oh, you know, this person is sick, that's why you want to do this, so you can be able to take care of if it's a parent or, you know. So these are things that you have to add as well, because that will also help you. So to, you know, jump right into the timeline, I did an application recently and I'm going to share the timeline with you on the dates that it was submitted, that this application was submitted, and when it was approved. So the timeline I'm going to mention here is for an application that was submitted in September 2022 and the green card was received in September 2023. So it took about 356 days from the date that it was received in USCIS until the day that it was approved. When you have an account created on USCIS to be able to track your status, you would see that the I-130 is a different one on your account. I-485 is also a different application on your account. The I-765, which is the work authorization, is also a different application in that same account. So you can combine those three and view them in one account. But those three different applications have their own different timelines. So I'm going to give you a breakdown of the different timelines for these three different applications that was submitted in September 2022. So for your I-765, once your application is approved by USCIS and you have completed the section, because on the I-765 form, the employment authorization form, you'll be asked to tick yes if you want to get your social security card and if you want them to send it to you. You know, there are some questions regarding the social security number. So if you tick yes for that question, once your employment authorization is approved, then they will send the social security card to the address that was on the form. So that is very, very good. You don't have to go to the Social Security Administration office to file or apply for anything. As long as you have filled the part on the I-765 that you want a social security, then they will send it to you, which is good, right? And if you did not receive your social security in your card like 7 business days after your EAD, that's your I-765 has been approved, make sure that you contact the Social Security Administration office just to tell them, or you can call USCIS to find out why you haven't received your social security card. So the timeline I'm going to mention here now is for the I-765. So this form was actually submitted on September 19th, 2022. So I have the the timeline here. Of course, I don't have it by heart. So for the I-765, let me start with that one because that's the first form that will get approved when you are adjusting your status, of course, to get your green card. So the I-765 was received on September 19, 2022. And then on October 18, we received a notification that they are actively reviewing the form I-765. That's the application for employment authorization. So our records showed nothing is outstanding at this time. So that means, of course, they've gone through all the documents that you attached with the form that you filled and everything looks correct. So nothing is outstanding. That means they don't need anything more from you. So that was in October 18 that we received that notification. And then in December 2022, we received a case notification that we are producing your new card for your form I-765, application for employment authorization. So it took about 3 months to be able to receive the work authorization from the day it was received by the USCIS. So that was really pretty quick. And then in December 23, 2022, we produced your new card for your form I-765. So they told us that, the card has been produced. And then on the 27th of December 2022, the post office picked up mail containing your new card. So that means the postal service have gone there to pick the card to send it to you. And then on that same December, that was when the card was delivered by the post office. So all this the different case status would be in your account that you have created. So you can see that it took us 3 months to be able to get the work authorization approved from when it was received by USCIS. So for the form I-130, that is the application for the alien relative, that form was also received on the same day, because you know this packet was sent at the same time. So the I-130 was received on September 19, 2022, and then in September 9, 2023. So you can imagine how many days interval before they were even able to look at the form. We are actively, on September 9, 2023, we received a notification that they are actively reviewing the form I-130, that's the petition for alien relative, and their records show nothing is outstanding at this time. So it took almost a year to be able to get another action that was taken on the form I-130. So on September 13th, so after we received that notification that they are actively reviewing the form, September 9th, September 13th, that's 4 days later, we received the notification that the application was approved. So you can see that in all this, I-130, the I-765, there is no request for evidence. And that was because all the supporting documents were submitted, all the forms was filled out correctly. So you have to make sure to avoid that. Make sure that you submit everything that is required and needed for your application. And lastly, for the I-485, which is the adjustment of status, the timeline is as follows. We received your form I-485, application to register permanent residence or adjust status, and sent you a receipt notice on September 19, 2022. So, of course, like I said, it's the same time that we submitted the forms, all the forms. So they received it, the date is the same for all the forms when it was received by USCIS. And on September 30th, 2022, we scheduled you for a biometrics appointment. So that was like, let me say 11 days later, we received a notification for the biometrics appointment. And then on October 18th, 2022, we received a notification that we are actively reviewing your form I-485, application to register permanent residence or adjust status. Our records show nothing is outstanding at this time. So October 18th was actually the date for the biometrics appointment. So as soon as the biometrics appointment was done, they updated this case that same day. So that's why we received that notification that they are actively reviewing the case on October 18th. And on September 10th, 2023, a notification was sent that your case for your form I-485, application to register permanent residence or adjust status, was approved. So it also took almost a year. This is a family-based petition that, you know, for the I-485, it took almost a year for it to get approved as well. And then September 20th, 2023, that's 10 days later from when they told us it was approved, they produced the card, that's the green card for the form I-485. So you can see that with this timeline I'm mentioning here, there is no request for evidence anywhere in between, because we submitted all the applications at the same time, including the medical form. So you have to make sure that you do all that just to avoid any delay in your case. And then September 20th, they said they produced a new card for the adjustment of status, which is, of course, the green card. And then September 20th, the post office picked up the mail containing your new card. So it's very, very important to create an account with USCIS so you can always track whatever action has been taken on your case, and you can see all of them in your account. So that will also give you hope as well that, okay, yes, it's moving, than for you to just apply and wait until you receive, because of course any action that is being taken, they will send you a mail in your, you receive a mail in your mailbox regarding that as well. But that would take like a longer time. Of course, seeing it online is actually faster. You just like in a week or sometimes less than 2 weeks, you would receive the letter in your mail to concerning the action that has been taken on your case. And on September 20th, 2023, the card was delivered to me by the post office. So all these things, these are the timelines. So it took about 356 days from when the application was accepted by USCIS until when it was approved and when we received the green card. So I hope this helps. If you have any question, please do not hesitate to put it in the comment section below. And of course, I'll be more than happy to share from my experiences with you, and from any other information that I know that would help you out as well. Because I've gone through the spouse-based adjustment of status, and I've also gone through the filing for a parent to adjust status. So those are the two that I've done and that I have experience on. So if you want to file similar application, please do not hesitate to let me know, and I'll tell you all I did and the processes, all the forms that I submitted that helped me a whole lot. For some people it might be shorter, so it also depends on where you are applying from as well, because some areas or some states might have like a lot of applications and maybe lots of backlog, and that would delay this process. And in some places it's quite faster. So like for me here in California, it took almost a year for us to get it. But some places might take less time. But of course, the forms to fill, the supporting documents to send is still the same everywhere in the country. So do not hesitate to put in your questions. And of course, subscribe. And thank you for all those who are subscribed, my new subscribers. I say thank you so much for the support. And please do not hesitate to share this video, because you don't know who might need to hear this. Share, and give it a thumbs up. Of course, this is valuable information that is being shared. If you have also you've gone through this application process, you can also share your experience as well in the comment section below, so that other people can also learn from it, because no knowledge is wasted and everybody is also on a learning process. So please do not hesitate to share your experiences with us in the comment section below. And of course, stay charming, stay fabulous, stay healthy, and stay blessed. See you next video. Bye.